Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Sorry it's late. Here comes Jackson trying to figure out who's here. Jackson's looking around. Who's here? Jackson, come here. Let me see you. Let me see you. Let me see you. Come here. Jackson, come here. Come here. Okay. He's shy this morning. He had a bathtubby this weekend. He is clean. He's soft. He feels good. All right. He is such a good dog. All right, I started this a little bit late. I was working on some new technology for YieldMax. I'm trying to trace all of YieldMax's trades. I'll show you what I have here in a second. Jackson, you got to be kidding me. Just sit down. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Hey, Jax. Sean said, hey. Hey, just a second. I'm going to give Jack some food. All right. All right. Hey, hey, Robert, I hadn't seen you around here yet. Are all YieldMax going further out of the money in swaps? That's a great question. Here's what I know about that. And I know this just from listening to a Jay interview. Jay was on with somebody last week. It wasn't Rod. It was somebody since Rod. Jax he's a Borador. He's about a quarter border collie and about 3/4 black lab. But when you do a Google image search, he comes up Borador. But anyway, what I understand is they have the ability to use swaps, and they have the ability to use that. But it seems to me like Jay was kind of throwing cold water on it, just saying just because they filed for it doesn't mean they're using it. I need to look into that. Jay's going to be on my station a week from today. Is the 4th a week from today or a week from? Yeah. So 27th. So 28th is Wednesday. 29th, 30 is Friday. Is there 31 days? Yeah. So it's Tuesday, right? Because I've been thinking it's Monday, but I was thinking there's 30 days. If there's 31 days, it would be Tuesday, I believe. Anyway, Jay's going to be on. We'll ask him. We'll ask him ourselves. I mean, that's really kind of why I scheduled to have him on around this time. There's also something coming out called the Lightning Fund, which is a more exotic type strategy. Anyway, not to mention, I mean, so that's why I'm interested in it, because it's a compound strategy. It's 2 option trades smashed together, just like I like to do them. You guys see me do the put spread and a on a call spread all the time or whatever. Well, anyway, he'll be on it. He'll be on and we'll ask him. All right, so let me show you. I was up late working on this YieldMax stuff, or actually I've already got it shared. Or actually, let's see what the market's doing. I was trying to get something done over the weekend, and I tried to shoot a couple of videos, one on QUSA and one on WTPI, which are good funds. But I shot it a couple of times, but I just wasn't feeling it. I did some back test, and anyway, so last night I ended up doing some cool stuff on spreadsheets. I stayed up late working on spreadsheets. You guys will like it, I think. Anyway, let's see what the market's doing. Gosh darn it, that's the wrong profile. I want to be, I guess overnight my computer crashed and I have to, no, not that one. Come on. Oh yeah, this page crashed overnight. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry about this. But anyway, no, we'll ask Jay on those swaps and stuff. What I'm thinking is they're doing that because Roundhill does that. Pretty much it's an arms race with Roundhill. Anything Roundhill applies for, they apply for, and vice versa. So that's my guess on it, but we'll ask Jay. All right. Well, you got to love it. Everything's up 1.5 points. Look at that. ES up 1.5 points, NQ up 1.8. Now, here's the key level I was watching, this yellow line. this election night price. We went and we challenged it, Thursday. We went underneath it, but it turned out so far to be a fake out. So here we are on the other side. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. And also, if you look at where we're trading right now, we just reverted to this mean on this part of the chart. 59.15 is mean. We were above it for a while. We shot through it. We were underneath it. We came right back to it. Anyway, and it's also bullish that even when the market pulled back a second time right here, the election, as long as the election night price holds, that would be really bullish. And then also there's a lower gap down here that needs to hold too. That's from the Liberation Day gap. There it is, right there. That would be extremely bearish if the Liberation Day gap gave up. We could buy dips until there, but if it goes past there anyway, that would be bearish. Okay, so the only thing that's kind of concerning is Bitcoin's down, but it's whatever. It's only down 20 cents. All right, so let me show you what I've been working on. Okay, so last night what I did is I just downloaded all the YieldMax trades. And then what I did is I looked at every trade. And so I looked at I looked at everything. So, and it's not that hard to do. So like in Tesla, for instance, right here, they're selling the 355, buying the 382.50. They sold for 468. They bought for 412. That's $1.7 million they brought in, but they spent 406,000. Well, the difference is the yield. We can divide that by their assets under management, and we know what they yield. So anyway, just for yesterday, they yielded about half a point. Which is really good. They brought in the first column. The first column is. Hang on, let me do it like this. I fell asleep when I was doing it last night, and then I got up this morning and finished it off. But that right there, we'll make it gold because gold's option premium. That's the option premium line. Now this, though, unfortunately, this is the other half of the spread, so that's money going out. And these other two lines are positions closing, so they're important too. But really, for the yielding, I'm really trying to focus on this. So anyway, we can look at any of these. So let's just choose one. NVDY. All right. Well, NVDY, they sold $6.4 million worth of premium yesterday. That's about a half a percent. 47 bips or 0.5%. Why is that? Because their assets under management is 1.36 billion, and so you 6 million comes out to 0.47. So if they could do that every day, they pay about 104%. Obviously, as the days go by, I'm going to try to track the cumulative. This is just the 1 day projection. But we can look at any of them. So let's see which ones had the best day. This one made 132%. What's it? Well, it's Coney, of course. So they brought in $9.5 million worth of option premium, but including the spreads, they brought in 7.1 million, 60 bips. We can see these guys are killing it. These guys brought in 2%. What the heck? Dizzo opened a new position. And they brought in some money. I'll have to look at the math on that. That's just not looking right off the bat. Right there, right. See, gosh darn. Okay, that's fine though. At least I found it. Easy to correct like that. Just drag it across. Okay, that's more like it. They brought in 55,000 and then they spent 10,000 on the other half of their spread. They sold a 112, bought a 116. So that's their covered call spread. Yeah, and that's more like it. That seemed a little bit high for Dizzo, right? All right. Well, anyway, like to say, it was a late night, but we can look at any of these. Look at this one, 189% on. So this one's maybe an error, or else they really did well. It's on PyPy. So this has some pretty good volatility. Let's see what it's saying. Yeah, they sold a 72, and they sold a 72 strike option. and then they bought the 75. So that's their call spread. And that netted them almost $500,000, which is 86 bips. MicroStrategies, we can look at. Okay, MicroStrategies is the one everyone cares about, of course. And I've been tracking it separately, but I'm trying to see how hard it would be just to track all of them. It's not, I mean, it's pretty hard, but anyway, but it could be pretty cool too, because if we did this, I would know, we would know exactly what the dividend would be, or we know how much is there to pay the dividend. Well, let's say this, we know roughly how much is there to pay the dividend, but these are the exact numbers. I mean, they're just pluses and minuses. I mean, so they're pretty close. I mean, it's just kind of a pain. I need to work on I need to get it more automated. It took probably an hour last night and an hour this morning. So it's about 2 hours worth of work. But so anyway, all right, there's Snowy. Look at Snowflake. What did they do? They actually didn't sell any premium yesterday. Okay, well, that happens sometimes. Let's go and look at some other ones. Let's see, Pulte. Now, what did Pulte do here? Pulte sold $1.7 million worth of premium, but they, including the spreads, that cost them about $500,000 anyway. So they brought in 1.2, and they brought in 1.2, and that's on a base of 486.0700. Somehow that didn't get put in there. Okay, they made a quarter. They made a quarter point. Morrow, Carvani. Let's see what Carvani did. It looks like Carvani didn't sell any premium. All right, and then Winter. We don't really look at Winter that much. Okay, Alti. Okay, let's look at Alti here. So Alti brought in let me make sure this is right. ULTY brought in $5.3 million. But they spent 1.9 on the other part of the spreads. But even still, they brought in 3.4 million, which is 1%, because their assets under management are 323 million right now. All right, so Biggie. Let's check this one. Biggie only brought in $406 worth of premium, but it's only an $8 million fund. You know, that's still not very much. All right, now let's look at LFGY. Let's see what they brought in. Let's make sure the math is right, let's make sure the spreadsheet calculated it right. Anyway, if there's anything you guys want to look at, I'm about at the end of the line on here. Just let me know. But on this LFGY, what did these guys do? They brought in 1.3 million, 1.1 altogether. All right, we look at the rest of that stuff later. It's probably messed up. All right, so yeah, Robert, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You want them to change all the swaps. Now, what is the reason for that? Is the reason because that's the way Roundhill does it? And I mean, is that, well, why is everyone excited about the swaps? I don't really hang out on other people's discords, so and I don't even hang out on mine enough. But I'm never on rods. So if there's something going on, I don't hear about it anymore. I used to hang out on rods before I had my own. So anyway, you guys have to keep me up on all the, well, why are the swaps such a big deal? I think it is, they're using swaps to get the 20% leverage. They're just trying to do a single stock leveraged compete with round hill situation, right? I think that's all I think that's the real reason for the swaps. Hey, Lunar, what do you want me to ask Jay about? The new prospectus and what they'll do with stuff like buying and holding the underline. For some reason, nobody asked them, well, what do you want me to, yeah, and it's, I got you. So do you want him to hold the underline? Is that what you're saying? The reason I never ask him is because I don't want him to hold the underline. That makes no difference to me. The synthetic that's the way I would do it. It's a better way to do it. Not to mention they have to do it that way. People, in fact, Jay and I've had this talk. They have to do it the synthetic way because of the concentration rules. With to do a single stock ETF, they can't just do anything they want. Yeah, I guess if you want to do it in your own account and you want to have stock, that's fine. Go get stock. But for these types of funds, I think the synthetic or swaps works better. And okay, you think it'll help the NAV erosion? Okay, I was just wondering, and I'm all about it. If it helps with the NAV erosion, that's possible. That's awesome. Yeah, but when you hear Jay talk about it, I mean, unless I'm just imagining something, but he said they filed for it so they can use it, but he just kind of threw cold water on it. So anyway, but it's good that they can use it. They'll do whatever they have to do to try to compete with round hills, my opinion. All right, so let's see. Let's go. I'm going to go over to Option Strat and see if there's any see what's going on over there. But if there's an earnings trade or something you guys want me to look at, I'll be happy to look at it. We'll just pull up Earnings Hub. Anyway, yeah, I tried to make 2 videos, and I have like 2 videos half made. Like I said, they were but for some reason they just, I don't know. I just felt like working on spreadsheets. So then last night, I'd really like to be able to see it would be awesome. It's a lot of work, but it would be awesome to know the live at all times, to just know how much money's there to pay the dividend. It's just pluses and minuses, but I want to turn it into like a web app, an application or something, or something. I mean, because it'd be really handy. But anyway, I'm just working on the automation part of it. All right. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions, I'm all ears, or hit me up in Discord or whatever. All right. So NVIDIA, you got to love that because that's liquid. CRM, Dell, Marvell. Yeah, this is going to be a good week for earnings. Zscaler. I did really well on Zscaler in 2021. It was the same earnings cycle that I got Lululemon. I did them and Zscaler, and then I missed on Walmart. But I was 2 out of 3 and just killed on it was great. That's when I first figured out how to do straddle strangle swaps, and I was in love with it. Anyway, all right. Well, let's see if there's anything already in here. Let's see if you want, we can put one in there. I mean, but these funds I was reviewing this weekend, this Wisdom Tree fund, here's their trade. I mean, but they're legit funds. I just need to work on. I just need to shoot the video again or something. I'm not giving up on them. And this QUSA is a really interesting fund also. And I was kind of comparing them with each other because they're going to kind of be steady eddies. This Wisdom Tree fund just sells puts. So that's more like Defiance does, or, they just sell a cash secured put. And then the QUSA, they actually own the stock. A lot of you guys like to own the stock. They own the stock and actually sell options on the stock. So it's something for everybody. Hedge for next week. That's not working out. Baidu put broken wing. Anyway, just NVIDIA, there's nothing going on. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's look at maybe a CRM pre-earnings trade or something. Or let's see if the CRM has, because I know people are going to ask me anyway. So no, this doesn't. Well, wait, wrong date. Okay, yes, tons of liquidity. See, that's a 30 delta. Let's go over here, maybe get a 30 and a 15, something like that. I know no one asked for this, but I'm just going to do it real quick and put it in the comments. But then I'll answer a question or whatever. But yeah, so Jay, it's a week from today, and I have a place in Discord, but I'm the next week we're going to be putting, or I'm going to be putting a lot of questions in there anytime something comes up, and then I'm also going to send him. I'll send him a list of questions in advance or topics, and he likes that. He asked me last time to do that. That way he can, you know, if there's a line of questioning, he needs to bring something to prepare for. All right. That's not a bad looking earnings trade. Sorry, it's all caps. I don't know what I was doing. It's because in the spreadsheets, I needed it all caps for something. But anyway, I just need to find an easier way to do those spreadsheets. But that would be really handy to know, just to know what the yield is at all times on any YieldMax instrument, and not a dividend prediction like Rod does, because he's using his expertise and stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but a person that had expertise could look at my channel and could say, okay, well, this is the, you know, here's the pluses and minuses. But I wasn't thinking of a prediction so much as a tracker. It's a lot of work, but it would really be cool. Okay, so Dell, Deck, and Dell. Okay, I got him. All right. Yeah, I'm all with anything that would help out any of that stuff. I'm kind of cynical, obviously, but I'll quit being cynical and save my judgment. I just think they're trying to compete with YieldMax. I mean, or with Roundhill. And Roundhill's got to be driving them crazy because hey, Jerry, how you doing? Roundhill's got to be driving them crazy. I mean, because Roundhill's just, I mean, I was doing a video. I did a video yesterday that I never did finish, but it was about a lot of this stuff. But in any event, let's check this out. So we have XDTE and then we have WDTE. Okay. XDT's spanking it. If you go from the high to the low, WDTE outperforms because it has more buffer. So it does better in pullbacks, especially big pullback. The bigger the pullback, the better it does. But you can see overall. So then they came up with SDTY to specifically try to do the same strategy or better. Okay, so I mean, it's an arms race. This is a freaking arms race. I mean, I wonder if they sit there and look at each other's trade. I mean, I'm sure they're looking at each other's trades. As soon as one makes a trade, it's almost like a game of chicken, because these guys will sometimes not trade in the morning. But as soon as one guy puts a trade on, if you don't have a trade on, you know, you're going to underperform. So, or not, depending on what you think the market's doing. But no, this is awesome. And I plan to ask him a lot of questions about this. As you guys know, I'm more into the behind the scenes and the strategy. So that would include stuff like swaps. And I'm just cynical that the swaps will help with the erosion. The erosion comes from the fact that there's no such thing as free money. Any of these things that pay a yield, it has to come out of somewhere. It's not really erosion, it's depletion is what these things are really doing. And that's good news, because something that's depleted, it replenishes. That's the idea. Where erosion is more serious stuff that things like UVXY do. That's related to volatility. When you're using volatility, when you're using leverage, that's erosion you never get back. You can look at a chart of UV. And I know it's a little different. It's one of the things my video is about this weekend, but it's important to understand the difference. So these funds that deplete, I mean, you know, that's a problem too, but it's not always a career-ending injury for these things. But anyway, no, this this Round Hill versus YieldMax battle has been awesome. And then so now what are they doing? Now they have NVW, right? Is that and how long has NVW been out? Well, that's Round Hill's single stock. I get them so confused. That's Round Hill's single stock leveraged fund. Let's compare it to NVDY. Okay, so just like you would expect with leverage, it does worse on the way down because there's no such thing as free money. Everyone's thinking these Round Hill ones are going to. I think a lot of people are confusing recency bias with actual, it's thinking one's fund is good because it's been doing good. It's just some funds are built for certain markets. Round Hill is built for a bull market and definitely killed it last year. They definitely killed it. There's no doubt. But it's just, I think a lot of that's recency bias. So that's why I'm a little bit cynical, but I'll ask Jay everything. Of course I will. Anyway, thanks for being here, Jerry. I appreciate you. Thanks for catching up. You love the weekly funds, 1.25 leverage. I'm all about it. But you can see, is that NVW? Is NVW, that's 1.2 leverage. And look, and people love it. And that fund's good. A lot of people think those funds are the answer and they don't have erosion or whatever, to the extent when I do go on social networks. Sometimes I go on Reddit or sometimes I'll click on a YouTube video. But of course, no, there's no such thing as free money. These ones that have leverage are going to do worse on the way down, just like they did. I mean, just like they did. So it becomes it's just like anything else. If you could predict the future and you knew the next year was going to be super bullish, you would go with the leverage fund. If you knew the next year was going to be kind of like the past 3 months has been back and forth sideways, the past 2 months has been choppy, you would go with NVDY, or I would, but you would go with NVW in a runaway bull market. But I mean, it just has more, just because they're using leverage. Well, of course you would go. So when you're playing poker, you want to put as much in the center of the pot when you have the best hand, right? I mean, that's all it is. That's all it is. All right, guys. Well, I'll do. If you guys want to see an earnings trade, let me know, or have any questions. Yeah, I'm hoping YieldMax can do it as well. Yeah, what else is? Let's look at some leverage. So let's look at another one. Let's look at. What's the one that Granite Shares has? It's YSPY, right? YSPY. Isn't that right? Okay, YSPY 43. Let's look in FinViz, but at these Granite Shares and see how they've been doing. Yeah, YSPY is Granite Shares. Yield boost is what I'm trying to say. Oh, and they have a Tesla version of this as well. And remember, and that was doing really well for a while, and everyone thought that one didn't have erosion, but then it did. As soon as the market went down, it started doing well. We'll look. But there's just no such thing as no erosion or whatever. I mean, it's the erosion is an expense. It's a cost of doing business. I mean, so you definitely want funds that have as small of it as possible, as small of depletion as possible. But one way to do that is by getting funds that pay less dividends, which is not what a lot of people like. So, but look at this, 13% dividend. Are you kidding me? 13%. Now that's crazy. 13%. It's only been 3 payments. That's going to be like a 54% payer. I mean, that gets my attention right there. Okay, so let's compare YSPY with one of the other funds. Let's compare it with Round Hill, since we're talking about Round Hill. Everybody loves Round Hill. I do too. Okay, so comparing them. Wow, look at that. That's impressive. That's impressive. Let's look at the dividends collected. YSPI collected $1.62 on 19, a little less than 10%. Yeah, it collected about twice, or it collected 50% more dividends in that short time frame also. It's about the same total performance to where we are now. One's up 2, one's up 3, but along the way it was a lot better looking path for YSPI compared to XDT. Maybe there's something in these leverage ones, but look. So let's look at the Tesla leverage one, TSYY, and we'll compare it to TSLY. Okay. So back here is when people thought, oh, these ones that don't have any erosion, but it did have erosion. It looked for a while like it didn't have erosion, but it did finally have erosion. But also we're only looking since. Oh, this actually is a pretty good time. This is since December. So this is about 6 months. Let's compare it to TSLP, the curve fund that never gets enough respect. It just doesn't have that many assets under management. It's not that flashy. It doesn't pay that high of a yield compared to the other ones. So you could see TSLP did a little better in relation than TSLI did. Like I say, small sample size. Yeah, but like I'm for all that stuff. I'm for all that. Okay, Deck and Dell. Hang on here. Okay, let's look at Dell. I bet Dell's liquid as heck, right? Dell out of Round Rock, Texas, I believe, local company. They're out of one of the suburbs here. Yeah, but this one could be good. I mean, you could just do that by itself. Look at that trade. Yeah, that's a decent looking trade right there. Just by itself, that's not a bad looking trade. Let's see if we can get a call out here for a reasonable price, reasonable location. One standard deviation up. The market maker expected move is about at 128, so we can locate the option there. All right, there you have 73% chance of profit, a 6.8% chance. You're 6.8% higher than break even. It's basically it's 39 deltas. So you could buy the stock. You could buy 100 shares of stock and be 100 deltas. This is just a less volatile way. I mean, it's like it'd be more equivalent to buying 39 shares of stock, but it'd be like buying 39 shares of stock if you could buy 39 shares of stock for a credit, which you can't do. Anyway, I'll put this one in. I'll do the other one next time. I'll do Deck next time, or I'll put Deck in. I'll go put that in Discord. But anyway, there you have it on Dell. All right, guys. Oh no, it's fine. It's fine, Looter. Everything's good. Everything is good. Everything is good. I just want to make sure I caught all the things. But yeah. But I'll definitely. I mean, this is a good question, and this is a good question, and I promise. But people do talk about that. Like I say, and I have the answer memorized because he's said it so many times, but it has to do with on the single stock ones, they have to do it that way because of the concentration rules. And it's just a silly rule that that's kind of like a loophole because it doesn't, what they're doing doesn't really, in fact, make them any less concentrated to use a synthetic and have treasury bills doesn't make you any less concentrated than just owning the shares and not having treasury bills. You still have exposure to 100% of the shares movement up or down. So it's kind of a silly rule for sure, but for right now, that's what we're stuck with. So you're gonna see the synthetics. I'll ask him if he thinks that rule is ever going to change, and we can talk about the ins and outs. But that's all it is. It's just a stupid ETF rule. That's all it is. Okay, so what's Lunar saying? Supervisor came in, but yeah, I don't necessarily want them to hold the underlying. Yeah, just curious. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, and I wasn't trying to rant about it or whatever. So we'll ask Jay, right? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out next week. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all for being here. I'm going to go send Jay a link right now. I need to make him a link for our meeting next week, but we'll probably just do it live. It'll probably just be live on YouTube like it usually is. Or anyway, we'll figure it out. And I'll have a couple of pre-shows where I can meet with you guys and we can talk about anything else. But really what I'm most excited about talking about is this lightning spread, because it's a compound spread. It's two strategies smashed together, and that's kind of what I like. But also, and you guys will like it because supposedly it might be daily pay or something. So we'll have a lot to talk with him about with that stuff, and I'm not sure that fund's going to be out by then, but I knew about when it's going to be out. And about a month ago, I asked Jay, hey, I want to be on the show about when it's going to be out. So who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be out. That wouldn't be at all surprised. Anyway, but yeah, Lunar, I understand. And like I say, I wasn't trying to rant. I'm a bottom line guy. I'm a bottom line guy. Whatever improves total return, I'm all about it. All right, guys. You have a good day. I'll be back later. See you.